Hello, hello. You're welcome to my podcast. I'm so proud and privileged to actually even be saying that. I'm so glad you're here with me and you're listening to me. Um, I'm Anu Martins, and on this podcast, we talk about infertility, everything infertility, um, with the goal of encouraging, strengthening each other, and moving through it, out of it, and past it into the goals that we want. I do think it's important to be intentional about, escaping the place of infertility, and setting goals is something that would be good. So my first point here for today's discussion would be about setting fertility goals. What are your fertility goals for the year? Um, if you don't have any, I think you should think on it. You should think on setting one or two. As an example, if you're newly married, you're ready to start a family after maybe 2, 3 years, you could, start by having a needs assessment, having a medical checkup to be sure everything is fine. That could be your goal. You could decide that, okay, this is something I'm going to do the first quarter of this year. Um, your goal could be something like there's a procedure that your specialist recommended, and you just kind of like were not ready because of life. You could decide that, okay, let's get this done. Does insurance cover it? To what degree does it cover? If I'm looking at my workplace, can I take time off? Do I need to take time off? And then plug all of this into. So your goal would be, okay, I should have surgery. I should have this surgery, or this procedure done this year, maybe the middle of the year, for example. Another person's goal could be to engage the services of a therapist, and be like, okay, I've been through so much. I am strong, but it would be good to have some help. So I will engage a therapist. So anything that's related to your journey, you can set it intentionally as a goal. And then the next step for this discussion would be to outline the resources required. So if you're in a part of the world where insurance doesn't cover, your health insurance doesn't cover assisted consumption, for example, and you know that you do need to save the money, or you need to invest and have that accrue, then you need money. Is it time that you need? If, for example, like in the previous point, where you would need time, you need to take time off of work, um, or you just need to take time for yourself. You need to take time for a procedure to heal. You need to plug that in. If it's that you need additional resources in terms of support, you need a support system, you need one or two friends, you need to be intentional about that, engaging your mom, for example, if you have that, because everyone's context is so different. The point is to assess, what do you need? What do you need to get to the goals that you have set for yourself? And the next step would then be to make a plan. So you break it down and say, okay, my goal for this year is to become more fertile, for example. And if that means having a surgery or a procedure done, okay, I want to have this done by the middle of the year, June, let's say. And to have this done by the middle of the year, then I would need this by the end of January, or I need to have done this by March, or I need to speak with this person, or I need to arrange time off from work, or have somebody stand in for me in my roles, whatever it might be. Make an actual plan that fits into the context of your life, and the next thing would be to do it and to implement it. And these are things, I don't think this would be new to many people that are watching this, but I do think what might be new is the fact that maybe we don't approach this problem in this way, especially because it's really challenging, very difficult, very emotive. But yeah, the next thing would be to implement your plan. Just do it like Nike says. And I think my last point after that would then be to be flexible. I've said this in a previous episode where the way this journey is, it would be beneficial to be flexible. So you set your goals, you've determined the resources that you need, you've made a plan, you've acted on the plan, and then the next thing would be, okay, where do we go? So, and then it becomes a feedback loop that, okay, so this is what I did and this is how it went. And then I got to the stage. So, okay, you had the surgery done, for example, you had the procedure done. The next stage was that it was successful. Oh, and then the next stage after that would be, okay, then um, you're going to go through ICSI, for example, or um, another potential plotline would be, oh, the person had this procedure done, it wasn't successful. The next part in terms of the treatment options would be surrogacy, for example. It could be anything. Next steps could be, oh, you need to get some rest. Next steps could be, you need to be on medication for a while. Next steps could be anything. But you do need to be flexible because the context could change, your body could change, your partner's body could change, your health indices could change, and by change, better, worse, it doesn't, nothing specific, but the point is being flexible and adapting to that and then reiterating the entire cycle again. So I think my aim on this particular episode is to encourage you that sometimes you do need to take like for me, like the way I'm speaking right now, I feel like I'm in like my work persona, which is taking charge, looking at it objectively, setting your goals, getting the resources that you need, acting on it, implementing, being flexible, and doing all over again just to make sure that you get the outcome that you want. So be encouraged from this particular discussion. Be encouraged to do something, be encouraged to be intentional, set your goals, and let's go. Let's do something different this year that gets us to the end point that we want and gets us out of this place of infertility into meeting our fertility goals. And I wish you all the very best. We're building a community together as we go along. So we can share ideas and share tips and see what works. What works for someone may work for somebody else or might not. But the information sharing is really, really helpful and should be impactful, hopefully. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.